Hello, welcome to Leo season of Expansive Astrology Academy. So glad. I'm so excited that we're here. We've made it to Leo season, the first year of Expansive Astrology. This is so exciting. So I'm so honored that you're here. I'm so honored if you're joining me. My name is Melissa O'Malley. Make sure that you let me know how you're doing and how this experience is for you. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. We're going to hop into Leo season. Leo is such a fun energy, and I'm really excited to see how it shows up for everybody in different ways, because this is a season to shine. It's a season to shine. Leo is a fixed sign. It's a fire sign. So a fixed sign kind of has an air of like stubbornness a little bit, and on the other side of stubbornness is confidence, right? Or like assuredness. So being fixed is not a negative thing as long as you're using that energy and that quality in a positive way, and as long as you're mindful about it. Leo is a fire sign. We're in the second fire sign of the astrological year. Fire is a passionate energy that can devastate, and it can fuse things together. It can it's ruled by the sun. Leo is ruled by the sun, and the sun is life-giving to the earth in so many ways, right? It's also ruled by the strength card in the tarot, which we will get into next week. And since it's ruled by the sun, which is ruled by the sun card, we're also going to talk about the sun card. Leo is represented by the lion, which we'll get into a whole lot in week 3. But the way, like Cancer, I used the illustration of the crab a lot. We'll be talking a lot about the lion and what that means exactly. And the phrase for Leo season is "I will," which speaks to that passion and that like motivation and that confidence. I will. Leo rules the 5th house of creativity, which is all about how we focus our creative energy and our appetite for pleasure, which is going to come up most in the 4th week of Leo season, when we're going to be talking about all things pleasure and creativity and play. So the basics, we'll start with the basics. How does Leo energy show up for us, right? Empowered. Leo in its empowered state is full of generosity and energy. Leo is a confident energy. It's enthusiastic. It radiates. Leo is generous and playful, full of zest, and is willing to take risks. It's courageous. Leo is a sign, an energy of self-expression and pride and embracing personal power. It's a forgiving energy. It's a magnetic energy. I personally think of like Beyonce and Lizzo, who, like Lizzo especially in a lot of her music, talks about if I'm shining, everybody's gonna shine. I love that. And that's a very, very Leo. I actually don't know what Lizzo's sign is, but that's very Leo energy. Leo is willing to and knows the power of shining and of living from a very heart-based place. The Leo rules the heart in the body. And that takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of courage to live from a very heart-based place. It takes a lot of courage to shine and to let yourself be seen. We're going to talk a lot about that. So disempowered energy coming from Leo is very egoic, very self-centered, full of conceit. It's ungrateful. Yeah, it doesn't sit with a whole lot of gratitude. It kind of takes things for granted. It needs praise and recognition. Um, it takes the center stage. It's a little self-obsessed, self-indulgent. It's impulsive. That's that fire energy. Impulsivity can be reckless or damaging, right? It struggles with objectivity, and that's that fixed energy, where like having fixed energy is not necessarily a bad thing, but having an inability to stay objective can get you into trouble. It's not great. Leo energy in a disempowered state can be really dogmatic, or vain, and narcissistic, not very cute. And so especially for this first week, but as the season progresses, keep an eye on yourself and how you're showing up, and keep an eye on those sorts of traits. And if any of those disempowered energies come up, just on the other side of disempowered energy is empowered energy, right? You can be passionate, or courageous, or willing to take risks, or you can be impulsive and reckless. Those are it's the same coin, if you ask me. It's different sides of the same coin. You can have a lot of pride, or you can be really self-obsessed or self-indulgent. So just keep a gentle and kind and curious eye on yourself, and how some of this might be showing up for you, and how you can kind of shift into feeling really empowered with this energy. Some challenges for Leo. Leo can have a hard time appreciating the whole picture. I think with that fixed energy, we can tend to get kind of stuck or like fixated on what feels important to us, and the danger of that, the damage of that, could be an inability to appreciate the whole picture. Leo can struggle with recognizing and being grateful for the contribution of others. Leo can have a really hard time asking for help, or appreciating help. And Leo can be conceited. So I like the image with Leo of like a kingdom. I like the image of a king or a queen or some sort of royal energy, because like a good ruler, a good leader, is willing to kind of set their hubris aside a little bit and hear from their subjects or hear from their helpers. A good ruler is willing to ask for help where they need it, and hand the microphone where it needs to go, if you know what I'm saying. A good ruler knows how to ask for help. It knows to feel, a good ruler knows to be like confident and maybe risky, protective, and they know not to be reckless. Game of Thrones comes to mind. I think of all the different examples of different rulers and leaders in Game of Thrones, and how some of them show up as like petulant children, and some of them show up to really serve their people. It's kind of fun to consider, if you were a king or a queen or a ruler of some type, what kind of king or queen are you? Do you embrace your power? And at the same time, do you allow others in? You know? The mission for this month, the mission for Leo, is to truly shine, to really let ourselves shine no matter what, and to aim for that light to be coming straight from our heart space. Not from the ego or from the brain or from our will, but straight from the heart. And so the affirmation for this week is, I was born to shine. And every week with every affirmation, I just invite you to really explore how that hits you. What comes up for you when you hear that? What comes up for you when you look at yourself in the eye and say that? Does that feel true for you? Is that hard for you? What kind of responses happen? Or is that no problem for you? Is that pretty obvious for you? I really want to call you to pay attention to what happens to you, or how you respond to affirmations like I was born to shine. Pay attention to how you respond to my invitation to treat yourself like royalty this month. Carry yourself high as if you have a crown of jewels on your head. What comes up for you when I say that? Really explore that. So I want to share the story of Hercules. And what I believe, I think it's the first of his 12 labors, his infamous 12 labors. And this is the story of him killing the Nemean lion. Nemean lion? Nemean lion? I'm not sure. I've only ever read it. I haven't heard the word, so please forgive me if I'm getting that wrong. Let me know if I'm getting it wrong. I think I'm going to say Nemean. I don't know which one I'm going to say. It's just going to come out. So I want to share the story of the Nemean lion, I guess, because and this story really illustrates the strength and the invitations of Leo so poignantly. The tarot card for strength, which is ruled by Leo, it doesn't illustrate the story of Hercules and the Nemean lion. I'm embarrassed now that I don't know how to pronounce that. I should have looked up how to pronounce it, but we're all in. We're going. This doesn't illustrate that story exactly, and like in a way it kind of does. So there once was a lion so strong and fierce and otherworldly and fearsome that it utterly terrorized the villagers of Nemea. They had sent their very best warriors and their fiercest weapons, but the lion was resistant to every attempt on its life. No weaponry, no tool could pierce its hide. And the Nemeans were at a loss. They felt completely trapped and terrorized by the creature. They couldn't go outside. So this was a job for Hercules. It was one of his famous 12 labors. Hercules he had no choice. He left behind his fancy weapons, knowing that they would only be ruined in the fight against the lion. The weapons wouldn't help anyway. So after searching and searching for the lion, Hercules finally found him and eventually chased the lion back into the lion's den, the lion's cave, and Hercules trapped both himself and the lion inside, confining himself directly in the face of danger, without any of his weaponry, with only what he had on him, with him, as just a dude. So Hercules had no choice but to use his own brute strength, to use only what was innately his. He throttled the lion with his bare hands and his bare strength, and he overtook the lion. The only way to truly kill the lion was to use the lion's own claws to skin it. Gross. It was the only way to penetrate the lion's strong pelt. And Hercules was victorious, and he skinned the lion with its own claws, and he used the lion's pelt as armor for himself. From the start, Hercules approached the situation from a place of pure courage. No one ever said he wasn't afraid or that he didn't wish for his arsenal of weaponry. And yet, he gained power and strength by dealing with his fear, leaving his defenses behind, and digging within to find his confidence and personal strength to get the job done, because there was no other way to get the job done. This really illustrates for us how dealing with fear and utilizing our intrinsic strengths is what leads to courage. We get courage by dealing with the fear and utilizing our intrinsic strengths. And bonus, doing that work is what helps us to become less vulnerable over time. The way Hercules did that work, and then his new armor of the lion's pelt helped to protect him in future endeavors. Leo and this story and Leo really highlight courage. Courage is the mental and moral strength to venture, persevere, and withstand danger, fear, or difficulty. So in Leo season, this next season of your life, here are some things that we're going to be working on and with and through. Leo rules the heart. We're going to be working on really connecting to the heart and listening to the heart. Dealing with fear, finding courage, really embracing courage. We're going to be working on, Leo is willing to be seen. Leo is very willing to be seen. In fact, Leo feels comfortable center stage. How are you with that? Are you willing to be seen, witnessed as you are? Leo brings with it that energy that encourages us to have a go at things, to try things that might feel risky. There are some people who are really, really willing to try something for the first time and make mistakes and do it in a messy way and, mess up. And then there are other people who, the first time they try to swing the golf club or the baseball bat and they miss the ball, they're like, nope, I'm not good at this. I'm not going to do this. You can't, some people really struggle to just have a go at something. So we get to really explore also the forces that hinder our impulses. We get to explore why we might just deny ourselves the opportunity to have a go at things. Leo's able to always find the fun in life. I want that for you too. We're really going to step back into our king energy, similar to Aries, where we were exploring our emperor energy and what it means to be an emperor over our lives and explore that. Welcome to your castle. It's Leo season, and it's time to treat yourself like royalty again. What's the harm? And truly, reflect on that. Tell me about it. What comes up for you what is the harm in treating yourself like royalty? Make sure you stay empowered. Make sure you maintain an air of royalty that is respectable and that you respect. Otherwise, and don't trample anybody out. Don't go sending people, beheading your subjects. And you have every right in the world to pretend you have a crown on your head. We're going to really explore how we are magnetic. You are magnetic. And with that comes polarity. So we attract and we retract. No, we repel certain things and certain energies. We're going to really explore how we are magnetic and how to use that. How to really embrace how magnetizing you are, how you attract and repel certain things, and how you can harness that power for yourself. We're really looking at squeezing the juice out of life. Summer is notoriously a time for many people to play and have fun and explore and squeeze the juice out of life, make lemonade. This year might look different than any other year than you've ever had. For sure it does, right? And that's part of the challenge. That's part of the medicine. No excuses, kind of. Can you squeeze the juice out of life no matter where you find yourself? Can you find yourself adopting a playful, zesty, heartful attitude no matter what's going on, no matter where you are? That can be a challenge, big time. We get to explore how we deal with rejection. There's going to be a whole lot of like ego work this month. We're working on we get to really explore. Pay attention to, when does your ego really thrive? when are you feeling it, right? What conditions need to be true for you to feel like your ego is satisfied? And what happens when those conditions aren't met? Are those conditions realistic? Are they fair? Can they be adjusted? Can you thrive? Can you adjust the conditions that are necessary in order for you to thrive? How do you handle when those conditions aren't met? How do you handle rejection? How do you handle criticism? How does your ego handle it? How do you handle compliments? Some people really struggle to accept a compliment. Some people really need compliments and praise. They thrive on it. They need it. And I guess those don't have to be mutually exclusive. Some people can really need the praise and struggle to accept it. Are you feeling called out? I'm sure we all fit somewhere in that spectrum, and I'm sure we've all fluctuated on where we are in that spectrum. Let's talk about it. Let's explore that. We get to really create an internal sense of confidence. I feel like with cancer, with every season really, but especially in cancer season, we got a great introduction to our ego and how we defend ourselves, how we protect ourselves, what is going on inside of us. Now, like, turn up the intensity on that 10 times. Leo, we really get to explore our ego, how that shows up for us, our sense of pride in ourselves, in yourself. Do you struggle to feel prideful? I think depending on many things, pride, some people have a really hard time with pride. I think some people really just associate pride with narcissism or bad things, or some people really feel like they don't deserve to feel prideful of where they are right now. I want you to feel proud of where you are right now and feel comfortable saying, I'm proud of myself. Not everybody feels comfortable saying they're proud of themselves. So for now, really explore how these archetypes, how these themes and invitations show up in your life. Explore when and how you experience both empowered and disempowered Leo. Begin to explore your ego in a very objective, accepting, curious, non-judgmental way. Maybe I'll talk about this isn't in the plans, but I'm feeling the call. So I'm going to talk about this real quick. I'm going to talk a little bit about the ego and what it is and how it serves, because as you're really exploring that, I want you to know. I just want you to know these things. So this is a pretty old theory of ego. There are many different theories of ego. There are many different ways to define and explore the ego. And I like the way that this breakdown. So we have 3 parts of us. We have many parts of us, but I'm going to talk about 3 parts of us really quick. We have what's called the id, spelled ID, and that is like way deep down inside our little souls. The id is a very pure, like organic, needy, childlike energy. The id is what gets our needs met. The id is what feels thirst and hunger and horniness and a need to play and have adventure. The id, if the id was running the show, we would be absolute chaos. When we felt thirsty, we would just reach out and steal the water out of our neighbor's hand because we're thirsty. I need thirsty. There's water. I'm going to just drink it out of your cup. Thank you. Well, we don't do that, hopefully, because next we have the ego. And so the id never sees the light of day. The id doesn't know anything about the real world. All it knows is I'm hungry, I want to eat, and then I want to fuck, frankly. Next we have the ego. And the ego is what kind of balances our needs. It's how we get those needs met in the real world. So the ego is what says to the id, I'm going to wait for the waiter to come back and ask for a refill on my water rather than take the water off of the table next to me. The ego kind of manages the id's needs within the context of the real world. This is pretty simplified. And then we have like the ego does a lot, right? And that's a pretty simplified, or that's like one component of how it works. And then we have this, what's called the super ego. Now the super ego is what kind of reflects and looks back on how the ego dealt with the need of the id. So the super ego is what says, it's that voice that says like, oh, you did a really good job with that. Nice job. Like you handled that well. Or it's the super ego that critiques what happens and says, you idiot. How could you do it that way? You look like a fool. Don't you know any better? Super ego can be very critical because the super ego wants to keep the ego in check. The super ego is very like kind of evaluates and criticizes how the ego is showing up. And oftentimes, the voice of the superego is the voice of someone very critical, a parent or a teacher or a partner or a friend or somebody that is very critical of you. We kind of adopt other voices to be the voice of our superego. So I mention all that today, unplanned, because I want you to know what the superego does, and I want you to tend to that. I want you to be really careful as you are moving through this Leo season, moving through the energy, really evaluating what your ego needs and how you show up. Also monitor that superego, the narratives that happen. Also monitor how you are interpreting your own behaviors and your own needs and your own ways of getting your needs met. Can you adopt a very caring, gentle, accepting, nurturing, loving voice as your superego? Okay? So then next week, we're going to be exploring the energies of the tarot, how the sun and the strength card can really assist us in embracing the medicine of Leo season. And then week 3, we're talking ego big time as we explore our ability and willingness to embrace an air of royalty, embracing pride, working with conceit, all things ego and pride. And then finally, we round out Leo season by exploring creativity and pleasure and self-expression and play as an adult. What does it mean to play as an adult? We're going to talk about our magnetism and really continuing to embrace shamelessness. I think I'm most excited for that week. I have some I have some affirmations to round us out for today. Our main affirmation is I was born to shine. I'd really like you to sit with that and remind yourself of that this whole next week. As often as you remember to tell yourself, I was born to shine. Remind yourself, like, let that be a common phrase from your superego when you start to worry that you've been seen too much, or that you're being too big, or that you're being too loud or too bold or too anything. Remind yourself, I was born to shine. And some alternative affirmations for you might be, I deserve to love myself. I'm meant to do things in a really big way. I am worthy. I am strong. I am proud. Proud. Really explore what might be getting in your way of having a full, true sense of deservingness. What might be hindering or stopping or swaying you away from really feeling like royalty, like you deserve to be proud of yourself, like you deserve to shine. It's just the tip of the iceberg this week, guys. I'm here for you. I'm so excited. I'll see you soon with our first group coaching call of the season. Reach out to the group. Let us know how this shows up for you. What do you think of when we talk about the energy of Leo? What Leos do you know who really shine in these ways? How have you seen Leo energy show up in really disempowered ways? I'd love to hear from you too, on what your thoughts are on all of this. Let me know. Thank you for being here. Good luck. I'll see you next week. Take care of yourself.